I mentioned that, many brands still believe that sustainability is a burden on their budget, that sustainability is costly to implement. But, we also suggested a few things that they could implement that, does not involve cost at all. So, and we have to think these hotel businesses or, travel businesses have to remember that sustainability is actually a cost-saving measure in the long run.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Chat.Travel. Today we will have another very special guest with us. We have a Rhea from the Philippines, and she's been pioneering in managing, directing, and supporting the sustainable travel industry here in Asia and gradually all over the world. And welcome Rhea to the another episode of Chat.Travel. Hello, how are you?
Good morning, Tan. Hello, good morning. And it's my pleasure to be invited in your show. Very, very pleasure. Very glad to be here.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll dive into all the question very, very quickly. As I'm sure with you, the audience are very excited to hear about your story and a lot of facts and the challenges that you and the industry are facing with. So now let's dive into a fact that we'll be discussing today mainly with. We've been noticing that even though the investment that come into sustainable travel has been incredible recently, however, we've seen that as traveler, for me myself, I've seen the cost to travel sustainably is expensive. For example, we've seen report from Booking.com and other resources that eco hotels, eco accommodations are 25% more expensive than regular hotel and traditional form of accommodation. And then we noticed that while 83% of global travelers think that sustainable travel is vital, I mean they agree with that, but only 49% of those manage to travel sustainably often. So we will be exploring these issues with today. But
Yes.
into those pressing points, let's start with your.
Good statistics there.
I'm studying my homeworks. Let's get into your self a little bit because the audiences are very curious about who you are and what you do. And
Absolutely.
so, can you take a little bit back to the beginning of your career and what initially drew you to journalism? As we all know, you are a great writer and later working in the hospitality industries overseas, not in the Philippines.
Yeah, well, this is a story of my decades-long story, and Tan, I've always been more of a storyteller, though in writing rather than speaking, and that pulled me toward journalism. I started out writing for lifestyle and travel sections of local publications here in the Philippines, and which means I was able to get opportunity to explore places and sharing my experiences through my words. And as a writer, I believe that words are very powerful tool. And to me, it was such a cool, cool way to dive into the world of travel and connect with people's stories and cultures. And I really enjoyed my time as a budding travel journalist. But as life has a way of taking you in unexpected directions. So while I was doing my travel journalism career in the Philippines, I had the opportunity to help a hotel here in the Philippines with their public relations and media outreach, requirement, and that opened the door for me in the hospitality industry. It opened really a whole new world for me. And so when an opportunity came for me to work in Vietnam in the hospitality industry, a couple of months of considering, because I was also working for some projects here, I eventually went for it. And to me, I wanted to explore something different and be part of an industry that's all about creating amazing experiences for travelers. So that's how I get into, switching from journalism to the hospitality industry.
Yes, that must be a very difficult time for you. But I think that, from journalism, where you share story, when you go to hospitality, it's all about sharing story. So after 10 years, as I understand from your expat hotelier in Vietnam, what inspired you to the transition to the travel writing eventually? and you co-founding the Travel Asia now.
Yeah, yeah. So as you mentioned, by the time I left Vietnam, which means I actually spent 10 years. I love Vietnam so much. I spent 9 years in Hanoi, 1 year in Ho Chi Minh City as a hotelier, and I learned everything from PR and marketing to sales and revenue management. And because I stayed in the property, I also got involved in the operations. So that gave me a good understanding of hospitality industry in and out. But over time, I started yearning for more creativity and freedom to work on projects that aligned with my long-term goals. So since writing had always been my first love,
Yeah.
When I decided to move back to the Philippines many years ago, that was 2014, I just felt natural to get back to writing, and that's how Travel Asia now came about. It started as a traditional digital travel magazine covering Asia, but as I traveled and dug deeper into the industry, I became more aware of the environmental and cultural challenges that is tied to tourism. So I wanted to use my platform to advocate for sustainable travel, responsible travel. So that's how all these things came about. And building on that momentum, my passion towards sustainability, sustainable travel, I co-founded Asia Sustainable Travel. So while Travel Asia now is a customer-facing, we provide stories for travelers. Asia Sustainable Travel is more for hospitality and travel professionals. And to me, it's been an incredible way to not only tell stories but also help hospitality and travel brands make meaningful changes or implementations in their operations.
Yes, I
Yeah.
understand that you have very career, from hospitality and to the journalism, and then focusing
Yeah.
on sustainability development.
Yeah.
So, how did your experience in hospitality influence, right, your approach to telling story as a travel journalist?
How did it affect my, sorry?
Yes, I mean, how did your experience in the hospitality that influence your approach to storytelling as you was a travel?
Okay, okay. Working in hospitality industry completely changed how I say things, because I realized during my tenure in the hospitality industry that travel isn't just about visiting places. Because prior to that, I traveled just for the sake of traveling. But when I got into the hospitality industry, I realized that travel is about creating meaningful moments for guests, for travelers, and it also taught me the value of connection, how much care and attention into details go into making experiences unforgettable for guests. So when it comes to storytelling, which is what I do now mostly, I carry that lesson with me. So I don't just focus on the destination. I dig into the why. So I became like an investigative travel journalist, digging into the why, the people, the culture, and even the efforts, that go into the preservation of the environment, of the culture for future generations. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I had one business, and then I always like struggles already managing the business, the people, the market,
Correct.
sales, and you have two
Yeah.
businesses now, and Asia Sustainable Travel.
Asian sustainable travel, yes.
Exactly. It's so. Can you share with me your personal experience? I mean, what is the biggest lesson, or can you share something with me personally and with the audiences in general?
Uh-huh.
The biggest lesson you've learned along the way managing two businesses at the same time, are they related? How do you manage to develop those platforms?
Mm. Well, I would say the biggest lesson, if you ask me, the biggest lesson is I've learned the value of having a clear vision. I think that's very important as an entrepreneur, that you should know your North Star by heart. Like for example, for Travel Asia now and Asia Sustainable Travel, both of these platforms are deeply rooted in sustainability and responsibility. And if you know your North Star, having that focus really guides you in everything you do, from the partnerships we pursue to the stories that we tell our audience, to the travelers or the hospitality and travel, professionals. And another big insight, I think, is the importance of collaboration. Absolutely, definitely, this is a one key lesson, because as we all know, no one builds something meaningful alone. No man is an island, as they say. So it's whether it's working with my co-founder at AST or forming partnerships with sustainability solution providers or like-minded hospitality brands. Working together has been a key part of our success. And I think one key thing also that I would like to share is it's essential to stay adaptable, because the tourism industry, I mean, the world is always evolving. So trends shift, new challenges come. We've read all these trends for 2025, for example. So you have to keep moving forward. And these lessons have been invaluable in guiding me in my daily routine, daily journey. Yeah,
Okay.
so those are the top three things.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's valuable for collaborating one another
Yeah.
and then connect from different professional in your industry, even different industries. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. Let's move into another exciting, and I think most of the audiences are waiting for today. Is we're talking about sustainability, and
Yeah.
and how does that relate to the hospitality industry, travel industry, and how these companies, as our key audiences are travel professionals, how do corporations, how do the company, the hotels, the resorts could really learn from that and apply that to the actual daily activities, right? So let's go back to the opening statement that I stated before, a little couple of numbers, then
Yeah.
we'll learn from there. So first of all, we've heard a lot about of these keywords now today, like sustainable economy, net zero, and a global, or like millennial target goal, right? So,
Yeah.
in a brief, can you share with us what is sustainability, sustainable activities are in general and in travel industry in particular? What can we know about these terms now today that people talk a lot about?
Yeah, sustainability is actually just, we just have to remember actually three words so that it's easier for everyone to remember. And the three pillars of sustainability is people, planet, and profitability, or the sustainability of the business itself. People meaning the not just the local community where the business operates, but also the people, the people inside the businesses itself, the employees, all the stakeholders, right? Because everybody has to be involved, and everyone has to benefit, including the local businesses and the local community. And planet obviously is all these conservation efforts, everything that involves the environment, the surrounding community of the place where the business operates. And then of course the profitability of the business. And there is this misconception that sustainability is expensive, but there are actually a lot of initiatives that a business can implement to run their operation sustainability. It's like taking one step at a time, because if you think that sustainability is just installing solar power, for example, or renewable energy, then you are putting yourself in a small box that then it becomes a limitation for you to operate sustainably. So sustainability and sustainable travel is much more than just installing a solar panel in your hotel. Yeah, so we can talk so much about that later.
For example, I know that a lot of hotels that I've worked with, they've thought that sustainable traveling is some sort of branding and doing marketing for themselves. For example, they want to they want to do something sustainably. Asking the guests to hang their towel on the rack if they don't use it.
Exactly.
They
Correct.
Yeah, and the thing is that when they use those images to do marketing,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's part of their plan. But I think that you don't need to do a big thing, right? Every
Exactly. That's what we yes. That's what we always say that it doesn't cost you anything to encourage the guests to hang the towels as we mentioned. If they just use it only one time, because you can. I mean, at home you use your towels like two, three, four baths even.
yeah.
So yeah, small steps like this go a long way in our campaign for sustainability. Absolutely.
Do
Yeah.
you see this a trend like travel industry? We've seen a growing focus on sustainability, as we mentioned, like using paper straw, hanging the towel on the rack, and do laundry at nighttime where it costs less electricity, installing solar panel, like etc., etc. Do you feel this is more than just a trend? And then what changes are you seeing in this sector, not only in terms of the hotel, but in the travel in general?
Definitely, there is it's definitely more than just a trend. A lot of people, a lot of industry players, a lot of sustainability experts keep on saying that this is not more than just a trend. Because even for example, Liz Ortigera of WTTC, World Travel Tourism Council, she even mentioned in her keynote speech during one of the events that 76% of travelers would like to support, or would like to travel sustainably. And that's a big percentage of, because travelers are already starting to, or have already started actually, like, after the pandemic, to travel really sustainably. And, a lot of conferences in the industry have been going on to talk about it, but also to implement it after all these conferences. So from embracing sustainable design, sustainable architecture, it starts from the design. Because as the architecture say, when I talk to them, or when I interview them for my articles, it's sustainability also starts with the design. Because whatever you do after you have already completed the building is like, it's like you're just patching, doing some patches in your sustainability journey. But if you incorporate, like, using local materials when building the hotels, or large windows, or all this sustainability aspects in designing the architecture, that has been going on for a while. So from sustainable design to the operations to waste management, even food waste, for example, is already being addressed on. We see a lot of providers and collaborating with restaurants and hotels in addressing all these issues. So definitely a lot of efforts have been going on. And I'm so happy that I've been attending all these events, covering these events, because from there, then all these business operators, hoteliers learn so much about all these discussions with so many takeaways. And when they go back to their respective properties, they do implement, because as I mentioned, there is a demand for it, because travelers are already embracing sustainability in choosing their accommodation and in choosing the destinations,
Yeah.
for more meaningful, unique travel experiences. So it's more than just the hotel operation, by the way. It is the entire travel experience, unique experiences,
Yeah.
meaningful experiences. Yeah.
So the it should start from the very beginning of it, from the design part until the construction part,
Correct.
environmental friendly materials
Correct. Yeah.
to
Local materials. Yeah.
to the end
Yeah.
of it. But it should not be just one hotel, right? It should be everything, all the hotels, and then the local activity. For example, myself, I used to live in Phu Quoc Island,
Uh-huh.
Vietnam. So in Phu Quoc,
Yeah.
many hotels are five-star international. So with these international hotels, they have very high standards when it's come to like sustainable activities. But the local is important as well, because when you mentioned earlier about people as well, people to me is like people in working in the property, but also the
Correct.
people, right?
Yes. Yes. Everyone.
We
Yeah.
need to educate them as well, make sure them they understanding the aspect, because we had a travelers who they stay in a hotel, the hotel is doing practice, but when
Yeah.
to the island, that they see a lot of differences. They see trust
Yes.
here, trust there, and they don't see even the local operator. They don't have a practices of using environmental friendly fuel, for example. Or they just dump trash here and there, or they smoke and they even put the smoke onto the
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yes.
that is something that we
Yeah.
need to do as from the
Yes.
government level until the operational level, or in the people as well. So that being said, there will be a lot of challenges, and when they try to implement sustainable practices. Um, what recommendation do you have for them when they want to overcome these, when they want to implement this, but they see the challenges in the budget? They don't have enough money, they don't have enough resources, and then they don't have enough people, everybody's busy. And then they need a way to measure success, right? When implement it for a while, how do they measure success when they implement something? And what does success means here? Is that they save more money? Is that they have more branding? Or is that the customer willing to spend at their property, at their restaurants? So this is the big question, I understand, but
Yeah.
you have a lot of time.
Yeah, we talked about it a while ago. I mentioned that, many brands still believe that sustainability is a burden on their budget, that sustainability is costly to implement. But, we also suggested a few things that they could implement that, does not involve cost at all. So, and they have to think, these hotel businesses or, travel businesses have to remember that sustainability is actually a cost saving measure in the long run. So even, for example, if they think that it's an expensive initiative to implement, like installing solar panel, the ROI is actually, the ROI is there, and there have been a lot of articles published about this. And you mentioned a very important thing that the businesses should do, which is to actually educate the travelers, which is what I have been hoping to achieve with Travel Asia now. And then at the same time is to inform and help the hospitality and travel industry players in their sustainability journey, which is what we hope to achieve with Asia Sustainable Travel. Because if there is a lack of knowledge and understanding about sustainability practices and how to implement them effectively, then there is this gap of
Especially when
achieving.
you speak to the owner, right? And
Yeah,
the owner,
correct.
they don't have this mindset.
Correct. So you have to, show a lot of case studies that actually these initiatives work, and this is where education and collaboration really play, an important role. Businesses need to invest in educating their staff, because staff play a key role in, informing their guests on the importance of sustainability. Like, they should be able to explain politely to the guests why is there a need to hang the towels, for example. It has to be communicated politely, because some guests might not be able to, or might not be receptive to the idea of hanging it, because they say, hey, I'm paying hundreds of dollars staying in your property.
I do
Why
what I
do
want.
what? Correct. Yeah, I do what I want, and just give me new towels every day. But training plays really a great part. Training, educating the staff, informing the guests about your sustainability initiatives, like either creating a QR code on your or publishing information on your website about your sustainability initiatives. And a lot of travelers are actually searching for those information. So to guide them on the solutions that you are implementing in the property. And also I would like to highlight that there is also this misconception that sustainability is only present in luxury properties, right? All this sustainable luxury. But these days, luxury has already been redefined. Luxury is more than just staying in a luxury or luxurious hotel. the perception of travelers have changed. Luxury can now mean like, comfortable stay, a good night's sleep, a beautiful, meaningful experience. And that's what hotels are already implementing now also. I'd like to, I don't know whether we still have time, but I'd like to give a complete example, for example, on how some hotels have implemented sustainability and prove that actually, sustainability initiatives can be a revenue generating tool. So, for example, I have interviewed Mega World Hotels and Resorts here in the Philippines, and they have this project called Sampaguita project. Sampaguita is the national flower of the Philippines, and it's a dying industry in the Philippines. Very seldom will you see a Sampaguita plant in the Philippines, but because they revived the industry, they have introduced Sampaguita infused dishes, for example, in all their hotels, in all their they have 12 properties, I believe. So they they revive the industry. They have collaborated with the local community to plant Sampaguita again, and because they have introduced the menu, they have increased their F&B revenue because of this introduction of the new menu, and they also collaborated with a local company owned by two women to produce Sampaguita scent for all the hotel rooms.
Wow.
And because of that initiative, they ended up helping or feeding over close to 4,000 families in a local community in Manila. So this kind of initiative, if you're not thinking of sustainability practices, you won't be able to come up with innovative ideas like this. But because you're so focused on helping the community, local community, reviving a dying industry, it's like so again partnership come in because they collaborated with local communities for this. So there are so many things that you can implement. Actually, we can talk about it all day because I've interviewed many hotels, and they have implemented a lot of innovative initiatives in their property. So those are just a few examples.
I think the audiences here who are hotel owners or who are manager of hotels, not only five luxury star, maybe
Yeah.
hotels, the
Correct.
housekeeping manager. So in school, I've learned that if you do laundry, for example, in the nighttime, it would save more energy. So I think it's would just not only about protecting the environment, it's also about saving the energy, the lighting, the waters, and everything. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's even one sharing by the Green Destinations, the representative of Green Destinations for Southeast Asia, Susan. She shared that I just forgot the name of the hotel, but there is this one property, I think in Mexico. I can get back to you but I have featured it in Asia Sustainable Travel website. They just water the plants in the evening, and that's just one of the initiatives that help them save money, save water. Imagine, the initiatives like this that are simple, practical solution that will, help you save money, which means sustainability also, means a lot to your bottom line as a hotel operator.
Right. From the investment or investing point of view, what is the biggest benefit when you apply these, sustainable practices? For example, what is the short terms benefit that you can see, let's say in a couple of months or within this year, and what is the long term benefit within 3 years, 4 years, even 10 years or 50 years, like very very long terms. So I think this is the biggest ROI the hotel owners or manager who are proposing the budget, that want to convince their owners in hotels, in any form of businesses, even convincing the government that these are worth investing at the moment.
Yeah.
What would that be? What it would be the biggest benefit, short term and the long term for those stakeholders?
We just have to remember that again, sustainability involves the three P's. So profitability, not just in terms of monetary rewards for the business, but also, how it would benefit the people, meaning, as we mentioned earlier, the staff, all the stakeholders in the local community, and also the environment, right? The planet. So what initiatives have you done? For example, if you're operating a resort, how has it benefited, in terms of keeping the environment or the beach clean, all this, or saving the wildlife, all these wildlife conservation efforts. But when it comes to profitability of the business itself, financial rewards, the exact it will depend on the specific initiatives that you will implement. If you are talking about, installing solar panels, for example, there is an operator in the Philippines that, has shared a case study wherein the ROI can be, 3 years, or because of the and there are also, we have to remember that there are also some green loans that are available, right? I don't know whether it's true for same case for Vietnam, but there are some governments who are providing green loans. So all these initiatives are being given. I think there are some, like, tax incentives also if you are implementing green initiatives. But the example that I shared a while ago for Megaworld, it actually gave them a profit of, I don't have the numbers with me now, but yeah, definitely, when you run the numbers, whatever implementation or sustainable initiatives that you have implemented, there is a monetary reward for it, depending on, of course, you have to do promotion when it comes to if it's an F&B initiative. But yeah, even initiatives like, having your own garden, how much will it cost you to have your own garden? And if the hotel will tell me, oh, but I don't have space. Well, there are a lot of city hotels in Singapore, in Manila, that have, installed vertical garden or rooftop garden. So not having a space is not an excuse. And by rather than an excuse, definitely. So you don't have to have, a big land area to have that kind of feature. And by having your own garden also, it becomes an added attraction, because you can, invite families to, or even, do cooking classes using your own homegrown, herbs and vegetables, and even visits for children, for families visiting. So you can do a lot of initiatives surrounding, having your own garden. So yeah, there are so many things that hotels really can implement that will help their operations, and it becomes a source of, organizing unique activities for the guests.
Right.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, the eco hotels, or that practices eco-friendly, are
Yeah.
generally 25% more expensive than regular hotel. This is a report from Booking.com. 3% of global travelers think that sustainable travel is vital, but only half of the people, 49% of them to be exact, they can manage to travel sustainably often. So meaning that they want to travel sustainable, but I think because of the cost, so they are prioritizing the cost over and convenience over sustainability. So we've talked a little bit earlier about convincing the owner, convincing the operator. You should do this. A lot of benefits, short terms and long terms.
Yeah.
How do we convince, or how do we persuade? How do we tell the traveler that you should pay a little bit more to get something interesting? The hotel owner, yes, we tell them they can see the long term, but the traveler, okay, I pay more to this hotel for what? What?
It's, yeah. Okay. And that's the beauty of actually sharing your story as a hotel owner, as a hotel representative, as a hotelier, or as a hotel marketer. Because if you keep the sustainability initiatives among yours, I mean, within the property, if you don't share it, we have actually, this is what I shared during during our Asia Sustainable Travel Forum. Oh, well, actually during the fest in Thailand, it's a sustainable event organized organized by Phuket Hotels Association. And I told them that while there is greenwashing, a lot of people, we've heard so much about greenwashing, but there is also green hashing, right? Meaning the hotels or the businesses are not informing or not announcing the sustainability initiatives that they implement within their properties, which is not a good thing. Greenwashing is not good. Green hashing is also not good.
Yeah.
Why? Because then how will the travelers know what you are doing inside your property? By sharing what you are implementing, no matter how small, or how moderate it is. If you do share the initiatives that that you are running inside the property, then you invite the travelers to stay in your property, and you inspire other hotel operators to do the same. One way or another, you'll have the capability to inspire other operators. So what I'm saying is, if we are not informing the travelers on the sustainability initiatives that you are implementing, then they will always end up saying that I cannot support sustainable hotels because they are expensive. But why are they saying that? Only because they have the perception that all these sustainable hotels are luxury hotels that you have to pay extra. But all these bed and breakfast, all these smaller hotels, there are a lot of family owned hotels and eco conscious accommodations that are implementing a lot of. It's just that they are not marketing themselves as sustainable properties. So that's it now becomes like a handicap because all these smaller properties are not marketing themselves as sustainable. So from a traveler's perspective, if they don't do a lot of research, then they will only see that all these 4-5 star brands are sustainable hotels, and all this bed and breakfast, all this 2-3 star hotels are not implementing sustainability practices. Why? Because they are not sharing their stories. So that's my role as a storyteller. That's my role in Travel Asia now, to make sure that all these properties are also being showcased. And so we tell the travelers that you do your part as a traveler. There are so many things that you can do to travel sustainably. But on the other hand, these hotels who are not, who may not have the marketing budget to advertise themselves as sustainable properties, but they do. They are sustainable hotels. So that's the missing part, I think.
Exactly. That is why I am myself starting this podcast channel, because
yes.
I wanted to support small businesses.
Correct. Yeah.
Budget to voice themselves to the on has been doing to support that to implement the technology, so on and so forth. So that's why I think we have a lot of in common.
Correct. Yeah. So, supporting all this, yes.
Yeah, earlier on until now, we've been talking a lot about hotels and resorts. Resorts, we talk about city hotels and simple practices they can just implement without a lot of cost, basically. Can we talk a little bit about other factors in the travel industry? For example, activity produce a lot of waste. They produce fuel consumption, and we talk about transportation, for example, because that is unattachable part of the travel industry. Let me give you an example. In flights, right? In aviation. So in aviation produce, I think, so much waste on the how do I call that?
Carbon emission.
Yeah.
3%. Yeah. Greenhouse emission 3%. Yeah.
And then they're having practices on this as well, but that again comes with cost. The airplane tickets going up, and for transportation industry, for example, for us as ground transportation, what are we doing? So one of the initiatives that we're doing is that we promoting EV. We put EV as a top of the search results in the Google search. If you car from Manila airport to Manila metropolitan area. It was
Yeah.
the the whoever have the EV vehicle first.
Yeah.
It is very hard to convince other providers to do the same thing because sustainable vehicle like this we would usually have higher costs. So again, it's the cost problem, and how do we convince,
They overcome that. Yeah.
how do we overcome these practices versus the traditional way where they don't cost a lot of money. Here in Vietnam, if you heard about VinFast,
Yes.
the Sang SM. I'm not
Yeah.
thing for them. I'm not giving
Just an example. Yeah.
the sponsor. I'm just giving example. Implementing the taxi services that are 100%
Yeah.
electric. So
Yeah.
but and then they're giving a lot of some sort of promotion to get the traveler to travel by their taxi. But apart from these regular practices, what do you think that other part of travel industry like airplane, aviation, ground transportation, tour and activities, and so on and so forth, they could implement to to be part of this journey together, not just hotels, not just luxury hotels.
But you know what I found out, Tan, when I covered sustainable events a couple of weeks ago, I found out that actually the carbon emissions, the GHG of aviation is only 3%. What's even higher, surprisingly, is events industry. Food industry particularly, which is 6 to 8%, according to well, I can't remember the name now, but I wrote that article a couple of weeks ago. So can you imagine actually? So I'm not saying don't feel bad when you take flight, but the F&B waste, the waste on organizing all these events, for example, in-person events produce 6 to 8%, which is double than aviation waste. We can definitely do so much as far as because to me addressing events, for example, is is a more practical thing to do, and we should address it better because if it's producing 8% waste compared to 3% of aviation waste, definitely there are so many things that you can implement in events and F&B.
And much more
But yeah,
easier.
correct. Yeah, because there are things that you can control. I mean, there are so many initiatives discussed during the GSTC event in Singapore last month, and one of which is, using, of course, materials that do not harm the environment, or planning the event itself in advance will definitely lessen the waste production in events. But because if we talk about fuel or aviation, for example, what are the things you can do? Take alternative transportation, for example. So what do you do? Travel by train, but in the Philippines, for example, train is not that available. I mean, in Europe, then it becomes a more viable alternative than taking flights, because they say trains produce, yeah, but they have that option. In the Philippines, we don't really have that option to travel outside of Metro Manila using train. So saying in Vietnam, for example, the availability of train is very limited, like, from Hanoi to Sapa, yes, and, to other locations. So, again, it depends on the availability of local transportation and how friendly these local transportations are. So these are the things that will involve the government and the local, local businesses, in addressing this. But it's a lot of talks and a lot of initiatives that can be implemented as far as transportation is concerned. EV has been a very hot topic for the past years, and we see a lot of initiatives, like, many hotels and even malls, for example, are installing EV charging stations in their properties to attract more users of EVs. But again, it comes down to cost, right? And you have to invest on all these EVs. But yeah, as we always say, one step at a time. Whatever we do now will definitely go a long way as far as embracing and implementing sustainability. We have to address all this. Yes.
Exactly. Let's
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about the innovation, right? And
Okay.
yeah, and the future trend of hospitality and
Yeah.
sustainability. So, how do you see technology that shape the future of sustainable travel? Can innovation like AIs or smart accommodation play a role in advancing the responsible tourism?
Yes, yes. Definitely technology is a game changer, and we have already seen it. We've been seeing it, like, AI help travelers to make, both travelers and, the hotel and travel industry players to make, it, on one hand, it makes, travelers make smarter, eco-conscious decisions, because there are a lot of information now available online as far as choosing, flights or, green hotels. And it becomes available because of AI and big data, as we know it.
Yeah.
And it's not just for travelers. Businesses use AI to run their businesses more efficiently. They are able to design, experiences and offerings that align with, the preferences of the guests. They improve through AI. Also, they improve, even waste management, because AI helps a lot in many areas. So it's not just the guest touch point. All these smart rooms that we've been seeing. Using energy efficient systems, for example, that turn on the AC when guests are in the room. So yeah, a lot of there are a lot of improvements as far as, the use of technology is concerned. Even AR, augmented reality, we've been seeing a lot of ARs also used by, say, museums, because using AR then lets travelers, enjoy immersive cultural experiences without harming the local heritage site. So yeah, it's definitely much more than convenience. Technology makes it easier for both travelers and businesses to align with, responsible practices. So technology helps bridge the gap between intention and action, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And let's talk a little bit about our continent, Asia. Asia is very diverse. They have
Yes.
country with very advanced technology,
Yeah.
and there's a country that can implement sustainable activities, practices easily, but there's a country that's
Yeah.
very hard to do it. So it is actually quite
Yes.
challenging, and
It is. Yes. Yes.
and how do you tailor your work at AST to address this complexity? Because when we talk about Asia, we talk about China, we talk about India,
Yeah. Correct. Yes. Yes.
Singapore, the Philippines, very, very complex.
Ah, well, you've already said it. It's very diverse. So there's no one size fits all approach. It's impossible. What may work in Bali, for example, may not work in Hanoi. Absolutely right. Very different environment. Each destination faces specific challenges. So just an example, over tourism may be a big issue in Bali, in Phuket, in Boracay, and the local government addressed it differently. So because that over tourism, gives trade in infrastructure and natural resources. So this may not be a problem in emerging destinations, for example. So whereas for them the challenge is building tourism, but they will take the whatever happened in over tourism in Bali or even in Japan. There's a problem in over tourism, but whatever happened in those places will now take the emerging destinations will now take this as a lesson for them, so that they will be able to avoid repeating the same mistakes. So all this kind of resources become available because of the articles that we produce in Asia Sustainable Travel, and so it's definitely all the destinations have different opportunities, different challenges, and coastal areas different setting than other places in Vietnam, for example. Even Vietnam itself, like you have coastal areas, you have cultural sites, like places in Hanoi, or so.
Okay.
But yeah, Katba is another different setup, which is actually in a hot seat now. I've been reading a lot of stories about Katba because of the overdevelopment, right? All this construction going on.
Search in the local domestic tourism 2022 that most of the searches come to Katma. But I can give you one example here in Cham Island, which in Vietnamese we call Cù Lao Cham. They implement a practice that they don't allow any nylon bag, plastic bag, the island. So every time the traveler get into the island, the local authority check on their belongings and everything, then make sure that there's no plastic bags in the local market. Instead of grabbing by plastic or carrying by plastic, everything banana leaf and
Correct. Yeah, all these initiatives, right? Yeah.
yes, but it's the same practice cannot be applied in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. We need to find another solution for
Correct.
for the metro city. Is so
Yes,
as you
yes.
mentioned, in China we can do differently, in Bangladesh
Yes.
different, in India is different, in Vietnam
Correct.
it will involve the not only initiative but maybe the action, the direction from the government toward
Correct. All the stakeholders.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So that is a government, that is the local people as well. But as a traveler, what simple steps can traveler do to minimize their and to minimize their impact to the local community where they travel, and whilst they still enjoying that meaningful experiences?
Right? Wow, actually, Tan, there are so many things that a traveler can do. Simple things that we thought are not sustainable, but actually they are a part of sustainability initiatives that we are promoting. The first thing that you can do is to pack less. Because I mean, in my previous years, my tendency is to pack so many clothes, even shoes, one big suitcase just for a few days of traveling. But we have to realize that lighter luggage actually means lower carbon emissions, especially when flying. So that one then helps address the concern on aviation, because pack less is now if it becomes your one of your travel principles, it helps a long way, because traveling lighter means lower carbon emissions, basically. And then another good example was what you mentioned earlier. Always carry a cloth bag with you, a reusable bag with you, because that means you will not be using single-use plastic bags. And opt for eco-friendly or eco-conscious accommodations, or even the tour operators. There are an abundance of operators who are organizing authentic, meaningful travels, not just any other ordinary travels. And I think you also try and support activities that support local communities or local businesses. I always say this: if you go to a coffee shop, try to go to not the international brands, but go to family-owned local businesses, small coffee shops, even family-run guest houses, for example, because this means that the revenue that you are putting in really go back to the community. right? All the expenses goes back to the community instead of going to these, international, coffee chains. And yeah, what else? For example, if you travel to Thailand, wildlife, all this unethical animal encounters is very popular. Like, all this elephant shows. I used to enjoy that when I was younger. Then I realized, it's not actually good for the animals, right? I mean, it may look fun, but there are a lot of initiatives already run by the hotels themselves not to promote those unethical animal encounters. So if you can, please do not support those, like animal shows, because they are not sustainable. They're not doing good for the animals. And I think the last thing that I can share is just slow down and enjoy your travel. Don't try to cram like 5 destinations in a 5 day stay in one place, because first you will not enjoy it. You're contributing to over tourism, like very fast pace, and you're when you travel slowly, you not only get to enjoy the place, but you're also reducing the environmental toll on of constant transportation, and you'll be able to connect more deeply with the culture and the people. Enjoy the food, enjoy fall, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Like myself and my wife, when we travel,
yeah,
we try not to go to rush,
yeah.
and then we, if can possible, we like to walk around or not take a taxi.
Correct.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then we meet the local people. We talk to the local, asking what
Yes.
they're doing, instead
Yeah.
of sitting on a coach and
Correct.
through 5 6
Mm.
stations and take Instagram photos and
Correct.
you know,
Yeah.
but I think this will start from the tour operator, because
Correct.
the tour operator are now promoting these kind of shopping tour or
Yeah.
tours. So they
Yes.
put the customer on the bus and they take people to different places where they can take,
Yes.
where they can take photo to post on their social medias, and that's it. They don't care about other things. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you very much for these. As I think people will benefit from the activity they can be doing on their trip. At least I noted down the pack less. I think what with pack less is not only convince my wife to pack less,
Yeah.
but I will speak to the team. We'll have some way to reward the customer, reward the pack with pack less, or they have
Yeah.
initiative that like they pack less. They don't carry plastic bottle everywhere, and there's a
Yeah.
that we can promote. We give rewards to these people. That would be amazing.
Correct. Yeah. For people who bring tumbler, for example, water, their own tumbler when traveling, or bringing their own cloth bag or reusable bag, that's already a big help.
Yes. Okay. Now let's. I still have a lot of question, but I'm just go to the key question.
Okay.
Because we really want to get to know more about you and get to know more about the business.
Sure.
So, can you share a little bit about your typical day? What is your typical day looks like? Because you juggling multiple roles. Yeah. Can you share a little bit about?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's always a colorful day, and definitely no 2 days are alike. So, but to sum it up, my mornings are always reserved for my creative work, deep work. So that morning is when I do my articles, planning content, or brainstorming campaigns and programs. But I was telling Wyatt earlier, I always start my day with a strong cup of coffee, brewed coffee, as strong as Vietnamese coffee,
Yes.
no sugar. Yeah,
That-
yeah. So yeah. So that's my morning, and then afternoons are more collaborative. So that's when I organize meeting with
So-
partners, or yeah.
So when you do pitching for story, and then idea from brand that they want to be features, What do you look for when when you look for or you're picking story that they're pitching? Do you have any tips for PRs or for companies that want to be features in your magazine?
Yeah, well, the first thing I ask whenever I receive a pitch is like, does this align with our mission? Right? Because as I mentioned earlier, our North Star always guides us. So since our mission is all about authentic, sustainable travel, so whenever I receive a pitch, the first question is, does this story align with our mission? If yes, then let's collaborate. Give me more information about your story. If not, then sorry, we won't be able to accommodate. It's basically as simple as aligning your story with our mission and what we would like to deliver to our audience.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the platform, the two platform advocate
Yes.
for authentic, responsible travel. How do you
Yes.
ensure that the content that resonates with the reader while staying true to your mission?
Well, we always say, it starts with clarity in our purpose. Our reader trusts us to highlight travel experiences that are more meaningful and mindful. So that's what we deliver. We try to do our best to feature stories that are authentic, and so to us, authenticity is like non-negotiable. So if it's for AST, for example, for Asia Sustainable Travel, we really interview industry experts. We back up our story with real case studies, examples, and data whenever possible. So because we cater both to travelers for TAN and for AST, it's for the professionals. So we have to make sure that we deliver our promise of storytelling, unique storytelling, and insightful articles for AST.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as of nowadays you see on social media, there's a even people just they do some sort of social media. They take a picture, posting stories and everything, and some of them even claiming at a travel journalist, right?
Yeah, that's
I think that there will be a lot of works to put into that if you really want to become a travel journalist. What
yes.
advice that you have? I mean, actionable advice that I usually call for those who want to achieve this goal, then become a travel journalist.
Okay. Well, and not just a travel journalist, but someone who promotes sustainability. So a sustainable travel journalist. So to be a travel journalist is already hard, but to be a sustainable travel journalist takes a lot more commitment and passion to really promote and fight for sustainability. And but sustainability is a very vast topic, because you cover a lot of areas, a lot of aspects in hotel operations. So find your unique angle if you would like to really embrace being a sustainable travel journalist, and build your voice around it. Be unique and be truthful and be authentic, and become a storyteller who digs deep. I mean, don't just because if someone just reported, just on the surface level, then you are not being a journalist in doing so. So talk to a lot of stakeholders, to the hoteliers, to the local community, explore the history of the place, understand the challenges, do an in-depth story of the destination. And if you really would like to pursue this journey, do not underestimate the power of networking, because that's one key to be successful also. Sustainability and businesses and any other initiatives thrives on collaboration. We already talked about it earlier. So connect with like-minded individuals, join professional groups, align yourself with platforms or brands that share your values. Like for example, in your company, Tan, you have a very good platform to also influence travelers to embrace sustainability. So, all these connections that we are making will make some positive noise to really, invite travelers travel sustainably, and for journalists to become sustainable travel journalists as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I have two
Yes.
more questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can wrap up already.
Uh-huh.
In quite some
Yeah.
the,
It's okay.
the sustainable
Uh-huh.
business is to save each other's time, right? So we save time and we save our audiences time.
Okay. Okay.
Focusing on the key
Mm.
phases. So let's talk about 2025 and
Okay.
right. So can you share a little bit about what the future, what are you looking at, what is your goal for Travel Asia now and Asia Sustainable Travel? Are there any new trend or project you are particularly excited about for next year or upcoming years?
Well, actually, for Asian sustainable travel, I'm excited because for this year, 2024. Well, actually, we started Asian Sustainable Travel Forum late last year. We started in Ho Chi Minh City, actually, organizing events for hospitality and travel professionals. And this year, we organized a couple in the Philippines and in Phuket. That one is intended for hospitality and travel professionals. For 2025, I'm so excited because I'm having like a student version.
Wow.
So because I personally believe that education plays such a crucial role, in shaping the next generation of leaders. And one best way to do it is to start educating the students, so that when they step into the industry, they are already prepared, and they already have the values of sustainability early on in their life. So the student version of our AST forum will hopefully create opportunities for these professionals to learn directly from the experts and innovators in sustainable tourism. So that's one aspect of it. For Travel Asia now, we would like to focus on highlighting hidden gems, put a spotlight on the less traveled destinations, because this is one way of addressing over tourism. So not so much on those places that have been featured a number of times, but we'll switch our focus to fresh alternatives, so that travelers will be able to find new destinations to explore. So yeah, those are the key things. There are a lot more in the pipeline, but due to time constraints, those are the two things that I can share.
I think your
Yes.
answer very much reflect mine as well, because
Uh-huh.
your goal about educating the younger student, the next generation that will understand the importance of sustainable travel. Why
Yes.
should we do this? Why should we protect the planet Earth?
Correct.
Why should we do the tourism activity? So for me as well, what we are doing exactly the same thing, but I don't have the opportunity to tell to the student because I'm not a professor, I'm not a teacher. But we
I'm not also, but we can do it our own way.
Right.
We can wait, But yeah, I'm so happy to hear, Tan.
with the team here with us, and the team's over 40 people, and then
Uh-huh.
small action, helping
Yeah.
them, educating them on their daily activity in the office, making sure that everything you do in the office, and then for the end suppliers, the local suppliers, we work with over 300 local providers in the transportation industry as well. So
Amazing.
educating them, especially because the people here in the office need to understand about the sustainable travel, then they can educate, they can inspire local travel.
Correct.
For example,
Correct.
I give you one example here in another city in Mexico, for example, when we request to have glass bottled water, as you mentioned, we talked a little bit a couple of months ago. There's
Yeah.
no availability, and there's not importance at all.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
a glass bottled water instead of the regular aquafina or plastic bottled water.
You're right.
So yeah, and then they don't understand, and they're not willing to help because they don't understand. But then we
Yeah.
explain them, inspiring them that if you do this, it's good for the customer, it's good for you, it's good for the environment as well. Then slowly they change, and it's cost more. We pay for the difference now, but then we want to ask them to contribute to that effort,
Yeah.
as a role. So these are those kind of activity that we're doing with the local team as well and with our customer. So
Right.
finally,
Great. Great.
yeah, last but not least, what is the lasting message you would like to share to our audiences? I think it's a vast audience here that everybody's watching right now. We have a hotel owner, we have hotel general manager, resort general manager, students, and tour operator companies,
Right.
travel agency, all sort forms of the stakeholder in the travel industry, even the local
Yeah.
people. What is the brief message you can share with them about the importance of sustainable travels?
Well, Tan, if there's one thing I'd like everyone to take away is that, sustainable travel isn't just an option. It's a responsibility that we all share. So we all have to do our part, whether you are a student, a professional, a stakeholder, or a member of the local community, whatever your role is, we all have our, unique responsibility to pursue and embrace and implement sustainability. Travel, I believe, has this amazing power to connect us. It's what actually connect everybody, and because it teaches us about different cultures, and open our eyes to the beauty of the world. But it also comes with traveling comes with impact, and how we can travel can either harm or help. So, do we want to cause harm, or do we want to help preserve the environment for future generations? So I think that's the question and the challenge that I would like to leave our audience to take away from today's discussion. Yeah.
All right, Rhea, thank you so much for the time. I think this has been a great learning opportunity, not only for myself, but for all audiences here as well, that we've had an amazing learning session with Rhea here. And if I think all the activity that we can contributing to sustainable is not come from maybe the CEO, top CEO's offices,
Yeah.
from directly from your daily operation, guys.
Correct.
From your daily operation
Yes.
practices, we share that ideas. We, for one another to maybe we can copy, because there's no harm to copy.
Correct. Yes, yes, and as well, be the inspiration to others who have not done, or have not implemented those initiatives yet. If you copy good things, a lot of people will benefit.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So our comment
Correct.
section down below will be open for those who have any ideas. Whoever you are,
Or any questions, yeah.
please comment
Yes.
below. We'll have another session with Rare in the nearest future, direct in person, if possible.
Correct.
Answer those questions, and
Yeah.
any initiative or any practices that you are doing that have
Yeah.
impact, please share,
Yes.
and then we'll more than happy to arrange another session. Again, thank you very much, Red, today for your times, and we really appreciate that. We've learned a lot, and we definitely. But the important part as well is to take action. So
Yes.
for those who are
Correct.
listening as well and who are watching, please take action, small step at a time, single step at a time. You don't need to do big. I think
Correct.
that's the message, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much again for joining us, and thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Tan. It's been such a pleasure to reflect and share all these ideas. I would love to continue the discussion when we have more time and in person, hopefully. Yes. Okay.
We'll have
Yes.
the episode with Rhea when we meet her in person. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tan.
Thank
Bye bye.